thoughts and opinions expressed during this or any broadcast belong solely to our guests or our hosts. These broadcasts do not represent or reflect the views of their employers, sponsors, or affiliated organizations.
Get ready to flip your perspective on education. Welcome to the Flipboard EDU Podcast, where every story is a plus. Join us as we explore innovative ideas, share stories, and discover the power of collaboration in the world of education.
We dive deep into the latest trends, strategies, and resources to enhance teaching and learning. From EdTech tools to classroom management tips, we've got you covered. Let's collaborate, communicate, and educate with the best educators in the world right here on the Flipboard EDU Podcast with your favorite coach, Coach Jeffery.
Welcome back to the Flipboard EDU Podcast. In today's episode, we have a fascinating conversation lined up with an inspiring guest who is making waves in the world of theater education. Join your host, Coach Jeffery, as he sits down with Brittany Walker, a seasoned theater director from a large district in the Houston area. Brittany shares her incredible journey from a young performer to an esteemed educator with insightful stories about how theater has become a transformative outlet for students, especially in Title I environments. She dives into the importance of building authentic relationships with students, setting high expectations, and unlocking their hidden potential. Plus, Brittany highlights the essential role of fine arts in shaping school culture and discusses the societal challenges and opportunities that educators face today. Whether you're an educator, a theater enthusiast, or someone passionate about the arts, this episode offers valuable insights and inspiration for everyone. Tune in now to explore the power of creativity and inclusion through the lens of theater education.
Welcome back, Flipboard fam. This is your favorite coach, Coach Jeffery, and I have another amazing guest here today. I have Miss Brittany Walker. Welcome to the show, Brittany.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, man, first of all, tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself.
I am a theater director in a pretty big district in the Houston area. I have been doing theater for my whole life, performing for my entire life. Probably since I was 4 or 5 years old. I really found my passion for theater whenever I was in junior high. Found my place where people understood me. Performed throughout high school and college, but when I got to college, I really found a knack for directing outside of just wanting to be an actor. And I started my journey directing and more so working with kids. Life hits you in different ways, and I realized after having children that I need to be a little more practical about my craft. And so I decided that I would teach because I'd always loved working with kids, and I've always done like private acting coaching outside of the school setting, but it made a lot of sense. And so I decided to go ahead and get certified through an alternative certification program. And I've actually loved it ever since. I feel education and being able to work with kids in this capacity is my calling.
Gotcha. So you do have experience working in Title I environments and using theater. First of all, you're the first theater director I've ever interviewed, so congratulations. But let's talk about what are some of the benefits of having a theater program, especially in a Title I environment.
What I have come to learn, especially being in a Title I environment, because I've actually only worked in Title I environments, is that there's just a lack of programs that really allow for our kids to be able to express themselves. And I've learned that they need that outlet. They need a creative outlet. And a lot of them just want to be heard. A lot of them feel like living in the circumstances that they're living in, that they don't have a voice or that they're not seen. And so when they get into a place where it's like, hey, I'm going to meet you where you are, and I'm going to allow for you to be whatever you are and bring whatever you have to the table, you see something open up in them that they hadn't been able to open up before. And so then that's when you realize that you can have these or create these authentic relationships, and building relationships a lot of the times is the first step in getting through to a lot of these kids. And so when you're able to use something like theater to really create a bond and an important relationship, it ends up affecting them in ways that I don't even think they knew. But if we had these types of programs in more schools, I believe that people would see a significant shift in culture, because fine arts drives culture. And a lot of people probably gloss over it or they don't realize it, but we have the opportunity to be able to touch so many students, more so than a core class could. Like a core class, you're going to be able to touch these 9th grade math students, but my classes are full of all grade levels, all walks of life. I've got athletes, I've got musicians, I've got kids who didn't want to do it and they're only trying to get a speech credit. But then they get into this place and they realize that they can open this level of creativity that they never knew, and it changes their lives.
Yes. You guys do an amazing job with the theater kids. I've been to several of your productions and you guys are just doing an amazing job. How do you get kids to behave and to act out?
Again, really, it starts with the relationship. And once you've got that relationship, honestly, a kid will do anything if they trust you, but if they come to care about you. And so it's really easy when, like I said, you allow for them to just be themselves. You let them know that they're coming in, they're not being judged for whatever's going on in their life, and that it's not ever about that. It's simply about being in this room, in this space, and nobody's judging you. There's just something amazing when a kid realizes their potential and they had no idea that they had it. And that is the big thing, is that we are building confidence and we are helping them realize potential, realizing that they can do things they didn't know they can do. And once you unlock that, the sky's the limit.
Gotcha. So what teacher brought that out in you? You said that you've been acting all of your life. So where did that come from? Where did that ability come from in you?
What's crazy is that my entire life, like, I've been told that I'm talented. Oh, you can sing. Oh, that's so funny when you did this. But it was when I was in junior high, my 8th grade theater teacher, as crazy as it sounds, me being like a character my whole life and performing, I really had never thought about doing theater though. And I ended up in the 8th grade, like, theater 1 class, and my 8th grade theater teacher noticed in my theater 1 class that I was really talented. And the difference, I guess it was hearing an educator tell me that I was talented or that she saw something in me. It really boosted my confidence. And so I went from being in just that theater 1 class to actually being like catapulted into her production class, which you're supposed to take a full year of 7th grade theater to get into the production class in 8th grade. But after 1 semester, she moved me to production. And that literally exploded my world. Like, you trusted me enough to move me to the class that everybody else has had to do for this amount of time, but you believe in my ability enough to put me here. And it literally just changed everything for me.
That's amazing. Since the pandemic, the behaviors have been out of control in schools. A lot of teachers can't get kids to do what they want to do. And I know you said building relationships. How do you get a reluctant kid who really is acting out? Besides the relationship, how do you get them to participate?
First, I set the bar high. I let them know from day one, from the beginning, when they walk into my class, that my expectations are here and that this is where my bar sits, and that you have no choice but to meet me here, because I'm not coming down there to meet you. So if that's where you are, then this is not going to work. So I literally tell them from day one, there is no opting out. There is no saying no. If you decide that you're going to come into this class, you are going to meet my expectations. And my expectations is that you will be great. Not that you might be great, but that you will be great. And it's literally me not accepting no for an answer. If they want to fight, I'll go toe to toe. I'm going to make sure that you're great by the end of my class. If you don't realize anything else by the end of the year, you will realize that you are great.
Gotcha. So you went to college and you also did some production there. What university did you go to, and what productions were you a part of?
I went to Sam Houston State University, and I got my Bachelor of Fine Arts in theater with an emphasis in acting and directing. And I was a part of a few productions there before I actually left. I've got a really interesting journey when it comes to my education, but I was a part of a production of Thornton Wilder's Skin of Our Teeth, and I was a principal actor, and it was my first audition as a freshman, which was unheard of at that point in time. I was also a part of our production of The Colored Museum, and that was just an amazing opportunity because it was one of the first in many years all Black productions that Sam Houston State had done. And so we actually had 2 Black directors and an entire cast of really amazing Black creatives. And then actually after I performed Color Museum, I left for a few years. And when I came back, my same professors were there. They were excited to see me. And I started my classes again, but really quickly found my knack for directing. So I stepped away from the acting portion of it. And after that, I would work in scenes for other students because we had to direct and do directing classes. So we would work with each other. But as far as me actually auditioning for the shows at Sam, I stopped doing that and I focused all of my attention on directing after that because I stood out as a really great student director. And it was actually my teacher, Miss McIntyre, that is her name, who sat down. And again, just like in the 8th grade, she said, "Do you know you're a director?" And I said, what do you mean? And she said, "The work that you put up in my classes is some of the best stuff that I've seen from the students. You think you're an actor, but you're a director." And she unlocked something in me that I didn't really believe that I could do. And from that point on, I actually stepped away from acting and have only directed.
And I like to hear a backstory because when teachers touch kids' lives, there always is another educator at certain points that unlocks kids' lives. What advice do you have to a new teacher to be looking for a talent in student?
When it comes to new teachers, my biggest piece of advice is to be yourself. Always be authentic because one thing that kids are really good at is spotting a fake. They know when you're not being real with them. They know when you're putting on. And if you can come to them from a very authentic place and a very accepting place, understanding that you're not always going to get the top of the class, the girl or the boy who makes the great grades, who's from the awesome family and who's living the picture perfect life. You're not always going to get that student, but you've got to give them these students the same education as the top students. And letting them see that you don't see them any difference is a lot of the times where it starts. Also being firm and setting very clear expectations from the very beginning and not faltering on the expectation. Letting them know that they don't really have a choice other than to do what it is that they need to do. You have a job to do, but your student also has a job to do, and don't let them forget their job as well. So just stand firm in high expectations and definitely come at them in an authentic way.
And I love that. That is going to make a beautiful article. That is some really good information for new teachers. And I was just sitting up here thinking about how we can empower our students and teachers because they need it. What advice do you have for administration? Because it seems to me that you would make an amazing administrator. Okay. So what advice do you have for administrators who are supposed to support a program or grow a program like you have?
I would say the first thing is to realize the importance of the programs that you have, understanding that you have a group of teachers, especially when it comes to fine arts and even when it comes to athletics, you have a group of teachers that have the capacity to reach more students than normal. And then utilizing those teachers to drive the culture in your school. Because I consider myself a culture cultivator. And so everywhere that I go, I cultivate a culture of excellence. But if you don't empower the teachers that truly can reach the students and let them do the things that they're good at doing or the things they're supposed to do, then what you're going to see is that you're not reaching a lot of students or you're only focusing on one type of students. We have the capacity to reach so many more than just your core teachers. And that's a really important tool that sometimes I think that administrators miss. Their elected teachers and their athletics coaches, these kids see more kids than anybody else. What can I do with them? What can I do for them to push them to drive the culture in my school? Because when you have kids that are involved, you can shift the culture.
Man, you just hop right on in. You're amazing. Looking at the war on diversity, equity, and inclusion. You guys, and I don't want to be political, so I don't want you to steer anything political, but there is a war on diversity, equity, and inclusion. And it sounds like to me that you definitely embrace inclusion. What advice would you have for your peers on continuing the fight now that things have changed?
it can't be about the politics when it comes to education, because politics is not how we're going to reach our kids. The way that we reach our kids is by meeting them where they are and accepting them for who they are, regardless of what our personal beliefs may be. Because you have to understand, I have my own personal beliefs, but my personal beliefs don't have anything to do with me reaching students. And so you are definitely right. When it comes to being a theater director, typically we have a lot of students that might fall into the pot of marginalized communities that are fighting the fight right now. And the biggest thing is that we simply just accept them. We let them know it's not about what kind of clothes you had on. It's not about what you decided to go by today. It is about opening a level of creativity that you did not know you had. It is about coming in and being the best creative that you can be. And so we don't look at ourselves as Black or white or heterosexual or homosexual or whatever it may be. We look at ourselves as creatives, and that's it. And so we're able to touch so many more students and get so many more students to come in, because what they know is that when they walk into our room, that they can leave all the rest of that stuff behind, because in here, we're just the creative, and that's the only thing that matters. Sometimes you have to put the politics aside to truly reach the kids. And that's what we do in theater, and that's what we do in music. It's not about all the other stuff. It's just about the production. It's just about the music. It's just about singing that song. It's just about painting that picture. And anybody can do those things. And so that's the big thing, is that sometimes you just got to put those politics aside and understand that's not the way that we're going to reach our kids, especially in a world today where inclusion is so important. That is something that I'm never going to bend on no matter what. I am always going to let my students come in and be exactly who they are, because when they're exactly who they are, they're going to produce the best work.
Man, that's good. That's good. I don't have nothing else to ask you about. I think that's, you killed that. I love that mindset. Just, it's a war on education currently, and schools are an easy target. It's like people are picking in places that kind of establishes the culture of America. And I know that some people are on the front lines more than others, especially when you have all the school children, you have all the kids, and you got to help make those kids. A lot of the kids who are in the news right now gravitate to departments like yours.
They do.
You know,
and if we aren't being those great, strong, positive influences, then we miss the opportunity. That's the thing, because you're 100% right. A lot of our classrooms are full of those kids, and we miss the opportunity if we don't touch their lives in a positive way. If we don't help them realize that they are good at something, because of the fact that a lot of people even put theater in this box and they think that theater is just acting. Theater is so much more than acting. They develop so many skills outside of acting, and a lot of them find their knack in life in a theater class. But if you miss that opportunity, then you let those kids lead, and you don't know where they're going to end up. And so I take every single year, every single class year that I have as a new opportunity to touch a kid's life so that they leave a better person than when they came in. I tell my kids a lot. I have a poster on my wall that I literally probably say it at least 4 or 5 times a week. How you do anything is how you do everything. And so my thing is, if you come in and I only allow you to be great, and I only allow for you to put 100% into everything that you do, guess what you're going to do everywhere else? The exact same thing.
Yeah, very powerfully spoken. And one last thing, there's this agenda also too, that when you are touching kids' lives and you are getting them where they need to be, they have this stigma around the woke education and woke and extreme. So how do you streamline that to stay providing students a proper education, but without getting into like that, the woke view of education?
Honestly, I can only say that I focus on me and what I know I bring the students. I definitely wouldn't consider myself woke, but I also don't consider myself asleep. And so it's me being woke is not being asleep to the fact that we are losing our kids, then I don't see a problem with it. at all. Because again, you got to set all that aside. And if nothing else, just open your eyes to what the problem is. We are losing our kids. And sometimes you got to do things or go to different extremes to reach the kids. I don't consider that being woke, but I definitely consider it me not being asleep.
I love that. Brittany, thank you for coming on the show. You are amazing and talented person. And I hope to see you in administration. We need more people who think like you, especially African Americans, and to lead in that way and manner and just establish that culture to continue to bring that culture in other educational spaces.
That is the goal. I'm really close to finishing my administration certification. So the goal is to affect positive change everywhere. That is the goal, to emulate my classroom culture in multiple places. I want for every student to be able to come into a room and understand that they have all the potential in the world to be a great human being. And so I feel that's my next step, is getting into administration so that I can affect positive change in that way.
Yes, thank you so much. Where can our listening audience find you at?
I'm on LinkedIn. I'm not really big into social media at all, but I'm thinking about trying to get into it. But ultimately, I would say you can find me on LinkedIn, Brittany Walker, MED. Throwing out there, I do have a Master of Education in Applied Digital Learning because that's the way we're going right now. And you can definitely find me on LinkedIn. Other than that, I lay low. But that doesn't mean you won't hear about me and you won't see about me. Just keep your eyes open.
Yes, we really appreciate it. All right, thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
And that wraps up another inspiring episode of the Flipboard EDU podcast. A huge thank you to our incredible guest, Brittany Walker, for sharing her passion and insights into the transformative power of theater education. It's clear that her dedication to empowering students and cultivating a culture of excellence is truly making an impact. Brittany's journey from budding theater enthusiast to a director and educator teaches us the significance of recognizing and fostering potential in every student. As she transitions into the realm of administration, we look forward to seeing her influence expand, likely touching even more lives with positivity and innovation. To all our listeners, remember the powerful message that both Brittany and Coach Jeffery emphasized: the importance of building authentic relationships and providing students a space to express and discover themselves. As Brittany eloquently put it, sometimes we need to set aside politics and focus on the creative spirit each student brings to the table. Thank you for tuning in, and don't forget to connect with Brittany on LinkedIn to follow her inspiring journey. Stay curious, keep learning, and until next time, Flipboard fam, take care.